Hello, everyone. It's me again, yours truly, Michael Concepcion, with guest star Terrible Handwriting. Oh god, so embarrassing. Bear with me. Alright, so as you can see, we are on part 2, or really part 1, since before was just kind of a preface. And this is going to be form on my How to Draw series. And again, this is how I draw. This is not necessarily the only way to draw, or even the right way. This is just what I do. So let's jump right into it. So we will be covering the basics of how to start a drawing and just some tips about that. So the first step to any drawing is obviously and firstly to figure out what the heck you're going to draw. Now, I'm not here to talk about how to draw inanimate objects. I don't like drawing inanimate objects, backgrounds, stuff like that. I could, but this series is going to be focusing on drawing people or persons. All right. So you can start with a very vague idea of what you want to draw and sort of let the drawing draw itself. I do that sometimes. Or you could have a very detailed idea of what you want your character doing, how you want them to look, etc. But however you go about it is up to you. Um, so the vague idea is kind of better if you just want to let your creativity flow, or if you want to express an emotion like anger or happiness. In that case, just start and let something come out. But if you have to do like a commission specific pose or something like that, it's best to have an idea. Anyway, for this step, it's not needed, but I highly recommend having a reference for your drawing. If you're going off the cuff with a vague idea, the reference can come in later once you know what you're drawing and it's taken shape. If you have something planned, the reference is great to have at the start. This will really help you with the form, the pose, proportions, and all the other things we don't really think about, but we subconsciously pick up on. So again, I recommend having a reference. Not needed, but it helps tremendously. And there's no shame in having a reference. All artists do it, or most artists do it. It helps a lot. As for what references you can use, I mean, if you got to draw a fight scene, watch some fighting, watch some boxing, watch martial arts. Take a video of yourself doing the pose that your character's doing. Whatever you need to do. Get a little crazy with it. Alright, so actually starting. Let's see, what am I going to draw here? So you want to start with a very vague silhouette. For this, I'll be doing, let's just say someone kicking, right? This does not need to be detailed at all. This is going to be a silhouette. It could look as bad as you want it to look. This part, the detail is not important, or the complexity. At this point, at least. Basically, all you're doing in this step is getting a very basic idea of what your drawing is going to be. Got some big feet. So I'm drawing somebody kicking. A high kick. Person way more flexible than I am. Now, as you can see, this is not proportioned at all or anything like that. But at this step, that really does not matter. All this is doing is laying the foundation for the rest of the drawing. Now, it doesn't have to be kicking. It can be whatever you want. So if you want your character just standing, and you can start with the head, you can start with the body. However you want to start is up to you. I just start with the head. So say I want to just do someone start standing. Just do a silhouette like that. Just an outline. We're not going crazy right now. Do someone punching. Like a straight karate punch. You get the idea. Man, this lighting is... Hold on. There we go. All right. From there, the next thing you want to do is break down complicated shapes into simple ones. So basically all we're doing is, let's see here. The head is like an oval shape, right? We'll start with a basic oval. For men typically have like a squarish chest. Or rectangular, I'm sorry. Rectangular chest. So just draw like a rectangle in here. And in the rectangle, you can draw a triangle going down. Because men are typically broader in the shoulders. And with the triangle, what you can do another triangle going the other way for the hips. Basically make an hourglass. Just make sure the top half is bigger for men. If you're doing a woman, make sure the bottom half is bigger. Keep it simple. Do a circle here for the shoulders. Make like a cylinder here for the arms. Another circle for the joint, the elbow. Your shapes don't have to be like this. This is how I break things down. Start with whatever you can. I don't expect your drawings to start out like this if you're a beginner. If you can't even do a silhouette, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Start out with a stick figure. So sometimes what you can do I kind of did it earlier. If you have trouble doing a silhouette, to start with a stick figure. Let's do a female this time. So we'll give her like a little stick skeleton. Let's make sure the hips are wider than the shoulders for a woman. Little circles here to indicate, the shoulders, the hips. She's got a big head. You could just start simply with that. And from there, you can do a silhouette. Doesn't even gotta be pretty. Just do a little outline, right? She's got no neck. But you get the idea. Again, this step does not have to be pretty. All we're doing here is laying the groundwork, getting an idea, and sort of warming up. So you can start however you like. Again, you can start with the silhouette first, then the shapes. You can start with the shapes first, then the silhouette. Whatever works for you. Just remember that the human body is made up of a bunch of complicated shapes, so it really helps to, at first, break them down into much simpler shapes. And then from there, we'll go with stuff more complicated, right? Now, when starting out, I would encourage you practice these steps, these first 2 steps, so you can get better at them. These are good exercises for finding form, proportion, just getting a basic idea of how people are shaped. That makes the rest of the drawing a lot easier. So as part of the series, I will be doing 2 kinds. Let's see. Let's draw Bob. You guys remember Bob, right? From the first video? Okay, I'm going to draw Bob here. And I'm going to start with the stick figures. For this guy, at least. I'm just going to do the upper body. And then we're going to have Rob. Actually, let me give him a face. He's a happy guy. Now Rob, I'm going to draw with the how I would normally do a silhouette. Again, your silhouette does not need to look like this. But since I've been doing it for so long, I can sort of start with detailed silhouettes. Rob's going to be bald too. See, with enough practice, you'll be able to sort of skip steps because you'll be able to do them in your head. But again, you don't have to start that way. Starting with Bob is fine. Right, Bob? Gonna make some muscular guys here. And now these proportions are not what I want them to be. But again, this is just the rough draft. It does not have to be perfect. All right. So again, just to go over everything, the first 2 steps, they're sort of interchangeable in what order you do them in. But essentially, you want to get a silhouette. You got to start with the basic shapes, or you can start with the silhouette itself and then add basic shapes. And eventually, you won't even need the basic shapes. although they always help. And again, don't be afraid to use references. They will help your drawings look a lot better. Because some poses are very tricky, and I have trouble drawing a lot of poses still. Even though I've been drawing since I was, I think, 4 years old. Some poses are very hard, and I'm not afraid to use a reference. So that concludes the first part. For the next part, I'm not sure I'm going to structure it just yet, but keep an eye out for that one. Until then, stay safe out there and have a wonderful day.